Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's Reddit stories are from Entitled People. Story 1 is by Nova's a Dog. My son wants my dog. I have owned this dog for 7 years. My son's reasoning is, 1. He picked out the dog as a puppy. He was 15 at the time, and I did let him choose which puppy he liked. 2. I have 2 other dogs, so I wouldn't miss this one. 3. He, my son, misses the dog. Son moved out last year. The kid has never paid a dime towards the care and feeding of this dog. The kid still has a key to my house, which he uses to come over and do laundry in the middle of the night, not to play with the dog, which he is more than welcome to do both. The kid lives in a 3rd-floor apartment, and supposedly the landlord is okay with dogs, but his apartment is a third of the size of my house, with no land. Said dog is used to having the run of the land around my house. I said no, but he was welcome to borrow dog for a week here and there. He is now totally pissed at me and says he will go no contact if I don't give him the dog. I said, okay, been nice knowing you. For some reason now, he thinks I am choosing the dog over him. What did I do wrong? OP, I find it a little strange that you refer to your dog as just dog, especially in the sentence where you said, I said no, but he was welcome to borrow dog for a week here and there. It's almost like you're trying to distance yourself from dog as well. I think that you and your son probably have some sort of rocky relationship. He's on the verge of going no contact already, and this is just pushing him over the edge. I think if you guys sat down and you explain there's not a lot of land for him to run on, I've taken care of the dog the entire time. You don't come over to visit the dog when you come to do laundry. I'm keeping the dog. The best life for the dog is with me. I think that he'd get it. If he's so lonely, though, he could go out and get an animal of his own, but it doesn't sound like he would take good care of it or give it a good life if he's in a 3rd-floor apartment. Apartments can be okay for animals, but maybe he should get a smaller dog. I don't know what size this one is. Down in the comments by Blur64. Kids can be stupid. My daughter and I had this fight years ago. She wanted the dog, and when I said no, she tried to take me to small claims court. When I countersued, she caved and we had a long talk about it. I let her take the dog for a while, and it was a crap show. Goose didn't like being left in her apartment all day, so she ate the door. Lol. Anyway, it turned into a great learning experience for her. Goose ate the door. That is exactly why I screenshot this comment, because it's a little dangerous but also hilarious that the dog ate the door. Dogs, if they're not comfortable in their surroundings, can be very, very destructive. Our next story today is by Kaxia12388. Ex-friends. About 10 years ago, I broke my ankle in a pothole helping my then BFF move out of our apartment. 3 months after the break, doctors discovered I had a bone infection, osteomyelitis, and would probably need my leg amputated. At the hospital for the infection, I was scared and really needed my friends. I asked my childhood girlfriends to come please visit me as I was going into surgery every other day and was terrified I'd wake up from surgery without my leg. I had been in the hospital for over a week and only a few college friends, the true heroes, came to visit, without me having to ask. All my childhood friends planned a visit together. When that day came, one by one, I received texts from each of them bailing because they didn't feel well. They all went out partying the night before, got too drunk, and were too hungover to visit me. You see, the reason my BFF moved out was because she and the others prioritized partying, doing drugs, banging random dudes, and were just overall selfish humans. I had moved on from the partying lifestyle, and whenever I suggested we do other activities, they'd say no. Besides that, my BFF was a terrible roommate. She paid rent late, let my cat out of the apartment, was a slob, etc. So my relationship with her and the others had become rocky. I had talked with them before my ankle break about how sad I was with our relationship, and they all said they'd try harder. Then came my injury, and they all bailed on me. I immediately cut ties with them. They begged me to forgive them. Our mutual friends living out of state begged me to forgive them. You've been friends since preschool. Can't you let it go? No, this was the last straw. For years I'd see them at mutual friends' wedding, high school reunions, etc., and just remained pleasant. My favorite thing to do is to be withholding when they try to ask me how I am. Give me compliments and I don't reciprocate. You can see the desperation in their eyes and they want me to love them again. Even one of the girls' mother admitted to me how stupid their daughters treated me. Such validation. Now, some of our mutual friends are finally realizing how toxic these women are and are cutting ties with them too. I just smile and go, I won't say I told you so, but I told you so. Just because you've known someone since you were children does not mean you need them in your life as an adult. Keep the ones that show up in the worst times. Quality over quantity. OP, it's unusual for you to have friends that are into that lifestyle and you change and you haven't already cut ties with them until now. Like that was the straw that broke the camel's back? Most people, when they change from that party, drink, do drugs lifestyle, they lose their friends. That's how they get away from it. So I'm impressed that you pulled it off on your own. That is by no means a small task. Our next story is by Angry Curd. Entitled Plane Passenger. So I was flying today, smaller plane, short flight. Seats set up 1 to 2 in first class, 2 to 2 in coach. I, a female in my 40s, am in the first row of coach. Only one person is in a row across from me. Female, 60-ish. When I sit down, she has a call on speaker talking to a hotel about her room tonight, demanding a room in a specific tower, blah blah. Annoying, but whatever, I put my earbuds in. Something is wrong with my seat, however, so when the boarding doors close, I politely ask the flight attendant if I could move across the aisle to the empty seat next to an annoying speakerphone lady. Flight attendant says yes. I go sit down. Annoying speakerphone lady tries to stop me, starts arguing with me that I cannot sit there because the seat is empty and I am not allowed. I tell her I had permission, which she had heard me get, for your information, but she still keeps it up. The flight attendant comes over, tells her I can sit there. Yes, she keeps arguing. Finally, I ask if she paid for the empty seat, because if not, she needs to shut up, and I sit down. She starts sulking. Flight takes off. She takes off her smelly sneakers and puts her feet in the small pocket of the seat in front of her like a little foot hammock. Starts rocking her feet and moving the seat in front of her for about 20 minutes. Thankfully wearing socks, but I could smell her feet. When she got bored with that, she puts her feet on the wall, then later sits crisscross applesauce on the seat. Still no shoes. She gets chips, 3 to 4 bags, eats them with her mouth open so loudly I can hear her over my movie and gets crumbs all over the place. Floor, my arm, self. All over her seat when we left. Looks like a toddler sat there eating goldfish crackers. Finally, I look over and she is picking her nose. God, that's gross. Okay. Very, very disgusting. Very detailed and disgusting, and I've never heard the phrase before, crisscross applesauce. But that's cute. Our next story today is by Evie7560. Entitled Boyfriend of Housemate thinks he can live in my student home for free and then slander me online when we all ask him to leave. This is an old one, but I thought it might be a good read. When I was a university student, one of my housemates was dating a guy from her hometown. She invited him to come visit for a couple weeks, which we were all fine with, but that couple of weeks visit very quickly turned into him moving in and mooching off us. They both informed us he would find a job and pay for his fair share. But this didn't happen. He made no effort to find a job. He didn't pay any rent, paid nothing towards the bills, did nothing towards cleaning the house. He just spent all his time taking up our communal area, playing video games and watching TV. In their bedroom, they just proceeded to have extremely loud, intimate time that everyone could hear because the walls were too thin. In the end, we had enough. It was about 3 months into his squatting that the remaining 3 of us had a chat about whether this was acceptable. Obviously, we were all in agreement that it wasn't, and set up a meeting with the girlfriend and the interloper. It was decided that I would be the one to broach the subject and take the lead on the conversation, informing them both that he had overstayed his welcome and it was time he went home. He argued that he'd been struggling to find a job and that's why he was unable to pay his way, but we all pointed out he hadn't even made any attempts to find a job, just spending all of his time on the sofa playing video games. Eventually, his girlfriend agreed that he'd been taking the piss a bit and asked if he wouldn't mind going home. He did, and I thought that was the end of it. Oh, it wasn't. On the day of his moving out, he proceeded to post something on Facebook, thanking my other 2 housemates for being welcoming hosts while deliberately dragging my butt in the posts, claiming I was a really poor host and was throwing him out for no reason. Of course I wasn't going to stand for that, calling him out and making it very clear it was a collective house decision and he had been living with us rent-free for several months, which was not acceptable, and pointing out that we would be happy to have him stay if he was paying any contribution to the house. But he wasn't. That ended in him making a groveling apology under my comment, saying he was sorry and didn't intend for it to come out like that, etc., etc. I didn't accept it, because he knew what he was doing and just said he should take the post down because he'd made an idiot of himself. He did, but I still made sure my side of the story was out there by making my own post. Anyway, he went home. We got our house back and he didn't visit again. Anytime my housemate and he wanted to go see each other, she would go back home. After a few weeks, I'd found out that he'd also set up mobile contracts with his address listed as ours, and was not paying them. I gave all the bills to my housemate to give to him. They eventually broke up, but honestly, she wasted too much time and energy on the complete waste of space. He was just an entitled user who didn't expect to come against 3 girls who weren't going to take his crap. If you live at a house, it costs money. You eat food, you use power, you take a shower, water bill goes up, and if you live there, believe it or not, you increase the amount of mess in the house, whether you're doing anything or not. I know some people don't ever want to clean their rooms, they don't want to clean their areas. That's fine if you live in your own house and pay your own way. But if you live in a building with other people, if you share a room with anybody, clean up your area. Clean up your area, because for some people who kind of prefer a bit of a clean space, it can cause depression and other issues for them. If all you've got is time, contribute by cleaning. Our stories for today have come to a close. Until we meet again, have a splendid day.